Grounding, bonding, and neutral are essential components of any electrical system, each serving a distinct but interconnected role in ensuring safety and proper function. Grounding, in its simplest form, connects the electrical system to the earth. This connection provides a low-impedance path for fault currents, which are unintended currents that could occur due to insulation failures or other problems. By providing this path, the grounding system allows the fault current to quickly flow back to the source, tripping a circuit breaker or blowing a fuse and de-energizing the circuit. This is critical for preventing electrical shock hazards and minimizing damage to equipment. Think of grounding as a safety net, always there to catch excess current and direct it away from people and equipment. Without proper grounding, fault currents could linger, creating a dangerous potential for electrical shock or fire. The effectiveness of grounding depends on several factors, including the size and material of the grounding conductor, the quality of the connections, and the soil conditions. A low resistance connection to earth is crucial for ensuring that fault currents can flow quickly and easily. In many jurisdictions, electrical codes specify the minimum requirements for grounding systems, including the size of the grounding electrode conductor and the type of grounding electrode that must be used. Common grounding electrodes include ground rods, metal underground water pipes, and concrete encased electrodes, also known as UFA grounds. The selection of the appropriate grounding electrode depends on the specific site conditions and the requirements of the local electrical code. Bonding, on the other hand, focuses on creating a low impedance path between all metal parts of the electrical system. This includes things like metal conduits, equipment enclosures, and metal water pipes. The purpose of bonding is to ensure that all of these metal parts are at the same electrical potential. This is important because if two metal parts are at different potentials, a person could receive an electrical shock by touching both parts simultaneously. Bonding achieves equipotentiality by connecting all metal parts together with a bonding conductor. This conductor provides a low impedance path for current to flow between the different metal parts, effectively eliminating any voltage differences. Like grounding, the effectiveness of bonding depends on the quality of the connections and the size of the bonding conductor. Loose or corroded connections can significantly increase the impedance of the bonding path, reducing its effectiveness. Electrical codes typically specify the minimum size of the bonding conductor based on the size of the circuit conductors. In addition to connecting metal parts of the electrical system, bonding is also used to connect metal parts of non-electrical systems, such as metal water pipes and gas pipes, to the electrical grounding system. This is done to prevent these systems from becoming energized in the event of a fault. For example, if a live wire were to come into contact with a metal water pipe, the bonding system would provide a path for the fault current to flow back to the source, tripping a circuit breaker and energizing the pipe. Without bonding, the water pipe could become energized, creating a significant electrical shock hazard. The neutral conductor is the third essential component of an electrical system. The neutral conductor carries the return current from electrical loads back to the source. In a typical 120/240 volt single-phase system, the neutral conductor is connected to the center tap of the transformer secondary, providing a reference point for the 120 volt circuits. The neutral conductor is typically grounded at the service entrance, providing a connection to earth. This grounding helps to stabilize the voltage and provides a path for fault currents to flow back to the source. It is important to note that the neutral conductor should only be grounded at the service entrance. Grounding the neutral conductor at multiple points can create circulating currents, which can lead to overheating and other problems. In a three-phase system, the neutral conductor is connected to the center point of the Y-connected transformer secondary. Like in a single-phase system, the neutral conductor in a three-phase system carries the return current from electrical loads back to the source. It is also typically grounded at the service entrance. The relationship between grounding, bonding, and neutral is critical for the safe and reliable operation of an electrical system. Grounding provides a path for fault currents, bonding ensures equipotentiality, and the neutral conductor carries the return current. All three components must be properly installed and maintained to ensure that the electrical system is safe and reliable. A proper grounding, bonding, or neutral can lead to a variety of problems, including electrical shock hazards, fire hazards, and equipment damage. For example, if the grounding system is not properly installed, fault currents may not be able to flow back to the source quickly enough to trip a circuit breaker. This can result in a dangerous voltage build-up on metal parts of the electrical system, creating an electrical shock hazard. Similarly, if the bonding system is not properly installed, metal parts of the electrical system may not be at the same potential. This can also create an electrical shock hazard. Finally, if the neutral conductor is not properly installed or maintained, it can lead to voltage imbalances and other problems. These imbalances can damage sensitive electronic equipment and can also create a fire hazard. Electrical codes provide detailed requirements for grounding, bonding, and neutral systems. These requirements are designed to ensure that electrical systems are safe and reliable. It is important to consult the electrical code and to follow all applicable requirements when installing or maintaining an electrical system. In addition to following the electrical code, it is also important to use good workmanship practices when installing or maintaining an electrical system. This includes making sure that all connections are tight and secure, and that all conductors are properly sized and protected. It also includes inspecting the electrical system regularly for any signs of damage or deterioration. By following these practices, you can help to ensure that your electrical system is safe and reliable. The grounding electrode system is a critical part of the overall grounding system. It provides the connection to earth, allowing fault currents to flow back to the source. The grounding electrode system typically consists of one or more grounding electrodes, such as ground rods, metal underground water pipes, or concrete encased electrodes. The selection of the appropriate grounding electrode depends on the specific site conditions and the requirements of the local electrical code. Ground rods are typically made of copper or copper-clad steel and are driven into the ground. The length and diameter of the ground rod are determined by the electrical code and depend on the soil resistivity. Metal underground water pipes can also be used as grounding electrodes, provided that they are in direct contact with the earth for at least 10 feet. Concrete encased electrodes, also known as UFA grounds, are made of bare copper conductor encased in concrete. They are typically installed in the fittings of new buildings. The grounding electrode conductor connects the grounding electrode to the electrical system. The size of the grounding electrode conductor is determined by the electrical code and depends on the size of the service entrance conductors. The equipment grounding conductor provides a path for fault currents from equipment enclosures back to the source. The equipment grounding conductor is typically a copper wire or a metal conduit. The size of the equipment grounding conductor is determined by the electrical code and depends on the size of the circuit conductors. Bonding jumpers are used to connect metal parts of the electrical system together. They are typically made of copper wire or a metal strap. The size of the bonding jumper is determined by the electrical code and depends on the size of the circuit conductors. The neutral conductor is typically identified by a white or grey color. It is important to never switch or fuse the neutral conductor except in certain specific situations. The neutral conductor should always be connected to the neutral terminal in the electrical panel. The grounding system should be inspected regularly for any signs of damage or deterioration. This includes checking the grounding electrode, the grounding electrode conductor, and the equipment grounding conductor. Any damaged or deteriorated component should be replaced immediately. The bonding system should also be inspected regularly for any signs of damage or deterioration. This includes checking the bonding jumpers and the connections. Any damaged or deteriorated components should be replaced immediately. The neutral conductor should be inspected regularly for any signs of damage or deterioration. This includes checking the connections and the insulation. Any damaged or deteriorated components should be replaced immediately. Proper grounding, bonding, and neutral are essential for the safety and reliability of an electrical system. By following the electrical code and using good workmanship practices, you can help to ensure that your electrical system is safe and reliable. There are several common misconceptions about grounding, bonding, and neutral. Firstly, some people believe that grounding is only necessary for sensitive electronic equipment. However, grounding is essential for all electrical systems, regardless of whether they serve sensitive electronic equipment or not. Grounding provides a path for fault currents which can protect people from electrical shock and prevent fires. Secondly, some people believe that bonding is only necessary for metal water pipes. However, bonding is necessary for all metal parts of the electrical system, including metal conduits, equipment enclosures, and metal water pipes. Bonding ensures that all of these metal parts are at the same electrical potential, which can prevent electrical shock hazards. Thirdly, some people believe that the neutral conductor is the same as the ground conductor. However, the neutral conductor and the ground conductor are two distinct conductors with different functions. The neutral conductor carries the return current from electrical loads back to the source, while the ground conductor provides a path for fault currents. Firstly, grounding protects people from electrical shock by providing a low impedance path for fault currents to flow back to the source, tripping a circuit breaker or blowing a fuse and energizing the circuit. Secondly, bonding ensures that all metal parts of the electrical system are at the same electrical potential, which can prevent electrical shock hazards. Thirdly, a properly installed and maintained neutral conductor helps to ensure that the voltage is stable and that the electrical system is operating efficiently. Understanding the differences between grounding, bonding, and neutral is essential for anyone who works with electrical systems. By understanding these concepts, you can help to ensure that electrical systems are safe and reliable. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides detailed requirements for grounding, bonding, and neutral systems. The NEC is a widely adopted code that sets the standard for safe electrical installations. It is important to consult the NEC and to follow all applicable requirements when installing or maintaining an electrical system. Some specific NEC articles that address grounding, bonding, and neutral include Article 250, which covers grounding and bonding, Article 300.3, which covers the identification of conductors, and Article 408, which covers switchboards and panel boards. These articles provide detailed information on the requirements for grounding electrodes, grounding electrode conductors, equipment grounding conductors, bonding jumpers, and neutral conductors. The NEC also includes tables that specify the minimum size of grounding and bonding conductors based on the size of the circuit conductors. These tables are essential for ensuring that the grounding and bonding systems are adequate to handle fault currents. In addition to the NEC, there may be local electrical codes that also apply. It is important to check with the local authorities to determine which codes are in effect. Some local jurisdictions may have more stringent requirements than the NEC. Proper grounding, bonding, and neutral are essential for the safe and reliable operation of electrical systems. By understanding these concepts and following the applicable codes and standards, you can help to ensure that electrical systems are safe for people and property.